Hi guys, it's Aoife from Friday We See Dead Laughing and I'm here to do the Book Snob Tag. So I was tagged in this by Karen over at Rather Be Reading. I will leave her booktube below and I will also leave the original creator down below as well. So number one is Adaptation Snob. It's do you always read the book before you see the movie? And for me it is mostly all the time. But for me it's actually not being like snobbery of being like, oh I have to read the book is always better. Now 9 times out of 10 the book is always better, but one of the reasons I think I like to read the book first is because I like to know what's going to happen. I get very like, especially if it's like a book that might have a bit of violence in it or you don't really know, you know, your characters could be life or death. I really like to know in advance of actually seeing it on screen who's going to die, so I can prepare my heart for that to happen. So I think I'm just like selfish like that, where I just need to have all the story like straight away rather than waiting for it in the movie format. I need the story now, and I need to know what happens. So I don't know whether it's like a greed thing or a control thing. Might be a little bit of both, but that is why I normally will read the book before the movie. There are definitely some movies I haven't seen yet because I haven't read the book. One of those is Annihilation, which is on Netflix. Have been meaning to read that book forever. Still haven't watched the movie because I want to read the book first. Number 2 is Format Snob. If you had to choose only one format for the rest of your life, print, electronic or audio, which would it be? I'm definitely going to pick print for this one, more so just because that way I'll be able to see beautiful covers, I'll be able to hold the book, I'll be able to smell the book. I love just, you know, rifling through books pages. Yeah, there's something, I love my Kindle. I love having so many books, you know, on a Kindle. It's so fantastic for travelling just in general. I do love it, but nothing really can beat a physical book if you ask me. Ship Snob. Would you date or marry a non-reader? Yeah, like I would. My boyfriend likes to read. He doesn't read as much as me. I have gone out with people who haven't read that much before. I always think, you know, there's always room for change and improvement. So if you are dating someone who's not a reader, there's always, I feel like there's a book out there for everyone to start them in the realm of reading. So I definitely feel like if you are dating someone who doesn't read, there's definitely a book out there that you can find that they will probably love and it could change their lives forever and turn them into readers. But also if not, that's okay. Like I wouldn't want, if I was going out with someone who loved soccer, I wouldn't want them to force me to like watch soccer and play soccer and be really into soccer. Like that's fine. People are allowed to have their hobbies and, you know, separately from each other. So yeah, like I really love being able to recommend my boyfriend books and talk about books with him, as long as I'm going out with someone who appreciates my love of reading and understands that it's something I need to do for my own genuine well-being and doesn't mind when sometimes I have to wind down at the end of the night with a few chapters of my book. You know, someone who doesn't mind that and doesn't mind me shutting off for a little while to read my book. That's what matters the most to me. So yeah. Number 4 is Genre Snob. You have to ditch one genre and never read it again. Which one would it be? For me, it would probably be historical romance. I don't really read. I do read a lot of historical fiction, but it wouldn't be very heavy on that kind of Regency historical romance. So that would probably be it, because I feel like that would be the least sacrifice for me out of all the genres I read, because you guys know I read a lot of genres. So for me, that's the one I think I would be the least effective for me if I was to give it up. Number 5 is Uber Genre Snob. You only read one genre for the rest of your life. Which one would it be? Ooh, I think I have to go for fantasy for this one. I love a fantasy book. I feel like there's such a broad scope with fantasy. You could just do anything. You could do historical fantasy. You could do his fantasy with a hint of sci-fi. You could do fantasy with some thriller aspects. Like there's just so much you can do with fantasy. So yeah, the fantasies normally tend to be chunky books as well, and I do love a big chunky book. So I would definitely choose that. Number 6 is Community Snob. Which genre do you think receives the most snobbery from the bookish community? For me, it's probably just those general romance books or new adult books. I think people go into those kind of books not having very high expectations, and then when they do come out of them really enjoying the story, they're really, really surprised. So yeah, I think in terms of what people's expectations are going into a book, maybe those romance books and new adult books definitely seem to maybe have a little bit of snobbery. But yeah, I don't really know. I think it depends on what kind of side of booktube you're on as well. Like there are, you know, there's big fantasy side of booktube, there's sci-fi, there's YA, there is new adult sides of booktube, so it really does depend. 7 is Snobbery Recipient. Have you ever been snubbed for something you've been reading, or for reading in general? No, most people actually really love my reading. They're fascinated by all the books I can read. They love to talk to me about it, and I love talking to people about books. It's my favourite thing to do. But I have actually found that sometimes I snub myself for sometimes what I'm reading. Sometimes if I'm reading just like a YA book, like one, like, you know, a generic YA book, and someone asks me what I'm reading, I kind of get a little bit embarrassed by explaining what I'm reading, because I feel like I should be reading something like high and mighty, or something that's, you know, like the Man Booker Prize, or, you know, there are times where I feel a little bit embarrassed by what I'm reading, and I don't know why, because I really shouldn't be, but there's part of me that's probably like, oh, like, I'm an adult woman and I shouldn't be reading this YA book, I should be reading something, you know, something really literary, or these people will probably think I'm just stupid and I just read these stupid books, and like, I don't know why I think like that, and I really need to stop. It's just something, and it only happens if like there's someone, you know, like in work, or like someone, you know, passes me by and like, oh, what are you reading? And I'm just like, first of all, someone will ask me what I've read lately, and I forget every single book I've read over the past 5 years. Like, I can't think of a single book when someone asks me if I've read anything good lately. It's just, my mind just goes blank. So yeah, I just tend to be like, yeah, I do definitely snub myself, and I have to stop. So I think that is it for the Book Snob tag. I don't have anyone in mind to tag, so I don't know if I'll tag anyone. Maybe I will. If I do, I'll leave it in the comments. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please leave me your comments down below, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!